Hello and welcome to our next reflection. We talked about various things to do with listening, with growing in awareness of ourselves, of others, of our emotions, of God, and so on. And now we want to focus on our ability to affirm ourselves and others. What do I mean by this? Well, essentially, uh, it's about rediscovering what God sees in you and in me. We tend to focus on the negatives. So, my sins, my failings, my weaknesses, things I've done wrong, things I have not done and should have done, and these things tend to stick. Uh, Now, God knows all this, but God, when looking at you and me, sees someone precious, sees someone good, uh, sees someone beautiful. He sees what we tend to lose sight of, but it's still there. It's just covered up by a multitude of things. And so learning to affirm ourselves and others really goes back to this idea that within me, what's truly there within me is something beautiful, something precious, something lovable. And that can be very difficult to accept to begin with. So we need to learn. We need to learn to become positive about ourselves in order then to become positive about other people. To be positive of others means to encourage them and to recognize their giftedness. Uh, to be realistic about them. It's not about exaggerating who they are or what they can do. It's not about having some sort of pride about my own achievements or whatever. It's about really acknowledging the truth that, look, you're good at this. You're brilliant. As everyone else, there will be areas in my life, things that I can learn about, I can discover, I can pick up as new experiences. But to see the positives, that I am a person who's open to new experiences. I am a person who is open to new learning. And it doesn't matter how long it takes me to become open to this idea or the other one. What matters is that I'm open to this. I'm positive. Because we all have a choice in life. In my everyday life, even here when I'm in the friary, my ministry is done from a room, either through these sessions here, or through the celebration of the Mass in the chapel, through my prayer life, through my spiritual reading, through my contacting the parishioners over the phone, through responding to a few emails that come our way. That's the sort of ministry I'm engaged in. Now I can tell myself, well, Martin, but you should have done this better. You could have done this better. This wasn't good enough. You should have thought about this and that, and you could have spent more time on the phone with this and that. You could have phoned more people. You should have done, you should. And the list is very long that can bring me down. And if I bring myself down, I become negative. I lose energy to do anything. Or I can say to myself, Lord, thank you for allowing me this gift. Thank you for allowing me to serve the people in the way that I have today. There's a total difference between the two. I can accept and be thankful for what I can give, or what I have given, or what I have received from others. Or I can constantly complain that something isn't good enough, something is not what it should be like. And that's the choice I have. The chances are, if you're that negative person, the people will not want to be around you that much. And that's the choice you create. That's the impact you will have on the people around you. You will put people off you. So learning to be positive, to encourage others, to affirm others in what they do, to be thankful, to be appreciative. Please don't confuse this with the other possibility that I can always improve. I can always learn new things. I can always pick ideas from this person or the other that can help me improve things. That's different. That's also necessary. So we need a lot of discernment to realize what is beneficial, what is of help to me, because we're not self-sufficient. So we learn from feedback. And again, we can appreciate it, we can be grateful for it and use it to our advantage. So learning to be positive, glass is half full rather than half empty. I always recall this image and the example of when I was lying in hospital as a teenager on a ward where people struggled, either couldn't walk or move their hands, and were totally reliant on the people around them, on the nurses to look after them. And I remember opposite me were two men, a similar age, with a similar condition. They couldn't really use their hands, so they relied on the services of the nurse to look after them, to shave them, to do most of the things for them. And the apparent choice that each of these two have made in their lives. One couldn't be more grateful for what was taking place. The other one was forever unhappy. And it brings home to me, and it stayed with me over 20 years after, that this is a choice in life that we make. Even if we think that we've been influenced by other things, and we obviously have, and we don't know the history of these people's lives, but it was so striking that in the same situation, the two people reacted so differently. One with gratefulness and acceptance, the other one with unhappiness and complaints. So be positive. Make that choice. Learn, want to be like God is, to bring out the full potential in you. God who never gives up on you, who is always there to transform you. The other part of looking after yourself is to be respectful. Be respectful to others, to God, to yourself. What does it mean to be respectful to myself? Well, start with the obvious, my body. It's a gift. Use it. Don't abuse it. Don't misuse it. We've got the gift of water. Use it. Wash yourselves. Keep yourself clean. The very basic things, but sometimes when we lose respect for ourselves, we don't even want to do that. We don't want to wash hands or whatever. So part of showing respect for myself is to look after my own body, to feed it well, to pay attention to what I put in it, to become more aware that, is this helping me? Am I looking after myself? To do the exercise, go out for a walk. Maybe you can do something at home. All of these are ways in which you show respect to yourself, by looking after your body. But the body, is just one aspect of who you are. You need time for God. So what about my prayer life? What about my spiritual reading? What about my reflections? I need that time, because I need to show respect to God. And so after a hard day's work, maybe I'm too tired, but I can say a little prayer. Thank you, Lord, for today. Thank you for giving me this work. I accept my work today. And that prayer in the morning and in the evening can be all that is needed, that conscious raising of your heart and mind to God, to show your respect to the one who made you, who gives you everything that you have and that you enjoy on a daily basis. So looking after myself, being respectful, it's about also paying attention, what do I say to myself about myself? Am I respectful or am I putting myself down? Am I hopeful or am I crossing myself out? That's also respect. And so that language that I choose to say to myself, I need to also pay attention, what language do I use when I speak with other people? Is this a language that builds up, that is consoling, that is encouraging, that is affirming? Or am I just being critical for the sake of being critical? because I see things in the negative way anyway. So these are the choices we have, choices we can address, we can change, and change the situation, change how we actually are. And so paying respect to myself, paying respect to other people means having healthy relationships, establishing healthy relationships. And that means ensuring there are healthy boundaries between us, so that you know what you are about and that you can tell others, well, this is who I am. This is what matters to me. So when it talks about boundaries, well, your values can form as a boundary. This is what is the most important to me in my life. This is what guides me. My Christian teaching, my church's teaching forms a certain boundary for me in my life. Time boundaries. I'm not at the beck and call of everyone 24/7. Emergencies are different. I accept that. But even in my role as a parish priest, I'm not here 24/7. I am not glued totally to a phone, so that whenever you text or you call, you can expect that Brother Martin will be on the other side. That's not a realistic expectation. The time boundaries means that I need time, not just to serve the people, but I need time for God in my life, that I need time for myself, that I need time just like the Lord teaches us. You need to be away from the crowds. You need to reconnect with yourselves and pray to the Father. And so at those times, you will not find me responding to your message, for example. These are the certain times that I am available. We meet at a certain time. If I am respectful to you and to myself, I will do my utmost to be there on time, to respect that maybe he's going to meet somebody else in the next half hour or an hour. So we show respect to ourselves, to others, by keeping time, by having that time boundary. There are all sorts of boundaries. The emotional boundary. I am not responsible for how you feel. I am not responsible for how you react to what you're just hearing in these sessions. I am not responsible for you having a great day or a bad day. That's a healthy emotional boundary. And it's not just between you and the listeners watching on YouTube, but even with the members of your family. I am responsible for choosing my words carefully. I am responsible for ensuring that I communicate with you in a loving way. But how you receive that and how you receive my failure to do it, that's yours to deal with. You're responsible for that now. So all these things, like I mentioned before, my happiness is not dependent on you. It's dependent on God and myself. So having these various boundaries, where are my friends? How much time do I have to socialize, to spend time with them, to catch up? How much time do I have, maybe to develop intellectually, to study something? These are the different boundaries, some of them that we can put in place for ourselves, that will make a difference to my well-being. Because they will put me in a far surer footing. They help me to become more aware of what I am about as a human being. They help to make it clearer for me what is my role and how best to fulfill it, so that I don't get confused. And we can easily get confused if we are unsure about ourselves, and hence the reason for us to pay attention. So hopefully you're making that journey, and maybe become aware for yourselves today, well, what are my boundaries? Have I got any? How do I put them in place? because they will really help not just you, but all those around you. Because in effect, you will be teaching them also how to create these healthy boundaries. How you will be teaching them. You will become a model for them of how to look after yourself. God bless.